Jose Chili DiCastro loses again. Has his lawsuit against Blue Bacon dismissed with prejudice. Refused to acknowledge loss on livestream. 1A Audits Expose goes on hiatus after getting 15 copyright strikes by Denver Metro Audits. Will Christopher Cordova's reign of terror continue? Liberty Troll subpoena of Google for frauditor roundups identifying information granted. What will happen next that Randall S., the unhinged attorney Newman, Esquire, has another win under his belt? Plus, the angry vet gets trespassed for swearing at a Walmart? Say it isn't so. Will he finally tell his wife about it? I'm your humble newsreader, Pants. You're the stunning belle of the ball at the midweek Discord Disco. Come closer, baby-o, and experience my personal groove vibrations as we disco dance our way to auditing insanity. Diminutive YouTuber Jose Chili DiCastro's ongoing lawsuit against Michael Blue Bacon Piratini was dismissed on Saturday following a devastating ruling by California Superior Court Judge H.J. Ford III. DiCastro's lawsuit against Piratini, Kate Peter, Team Skeptic, and Daniel Clement actually began life as a federal lawsuit against Kate Peter and Josh Abrams back in 2022. DiCastro had filed a defamation lawsuit against the pair following a tumultuous year where he established himself as the top attraction in the First Amendment auditing community. While he would later drop the charges against Peter and Abrams, as he transformed that lawsuit into a copyright lawsuit against Peter, Abrams, and YouTube itself, he would refile most of the original charges against Peter in California Superior Court in early 2023. Abrams would be dropped from the case, and in their place would come Piratini, Skeptic, and Clement for various reasons, as the three men had all humiliated DiCastro in one way or another in 2022. DiCastro would claim that the four worked for Peter's criminal organization called the Masshole Troll Mafia, and had organized essentially a terror campaign against him in 2022 into 2023. The group was allegedly responsible for stealing his minivan, smearing Nutella on the front door of the Airbnb he was staying at, and other harassing activities. But there were problems with the lawsuit from the start, as DiCastro was able to serve Daniel Clement and made an attempt to serve Piratini and Peter, but was unable to serve Skeptic. When he amended his complaint, he was only successful in serving Piratini, as Piratini accepted service in order to fight the charges against him. Kate Peter claimed that she was never served by DiCastro, though the YouTuber was able to get the court clerk to file a default against Peter for failing to respond to service within the time limit. That default has never been ratified and turned into a default judgment by Judge Ford, and remains outstanding as the case otherwise wraps up. The lawsuit itself was a mess. While both Peratini and DeCastro originally went pro se, both men were later forced to hire attorneys due to circumstance. DeCastro needed that representation in 2024 as he went to jail for 3 months before his conviction was overturned on appeal. During the lawsuit, DeCastro made it clear that he intended to file the charges against Peratini as many times as possible until he received a judgment against the YouTuber. He said that the outcome of the particular lawsuit did not matter as long as it financially drained Peratini to the point that he was insolvent. Peratini, after some back and forth with his insurance company, was able to have his homeowner's insurance pick up the cost of defending himself from the lawsuit. However, his GoFundMe campaign saw significant support from his fans during the early days of the trial. DeCastro also refused to take part in the discovery process, submitting gibberish in response to interrogatories posed by Peratini's attorney on at least one occasion. Sanctions were asked for and granted to Peratini on multiple occasions, and by the end of the lawsuit, before final verdict, DeCastro had amassed nearly $10,000 in outstanding sanctions. As DeCastro refused to take part in the lawsuit for most of 2024, claiming he had a brain fog from his time in jail that hindered his ability to participate, Peratini sought and received a summary judgment against DeCastro's claims. By the end of 2024, the only outstanding charge against Peratini concerned whether or not Peratini used DeCastro's image improperly, and if DeCastro was a normal citizen or a celebrity. The answer to that question supposedly would come when DeCastro finally was expected to produce his answers to questions posed in the discovery process. Those answers never came. DeCastro started in a pattern of filing multiple documents in the days, and in one case hours, before hearings, in the case that would cause those hearings to essentially be postponed for another month. He would continue the practice even after firing his attorney and return to pro se status, which resulted in Peratini's attorney filing for both terminating sanctions and more financial sanctions against DeCastro and his attorney. Before the hearing for terminating sanctions could be heard, DeCastro presented a deal to Peratini: drop all sanctions against him, and he would agree to dismiss the lawsuit against everyone but Peter without prejudice. DeCastro justified his offer as he said that he was simply resetting the lawsuit out of fairness. He said that he had not been properly represented during the past 2 years, and it was only fair that he would pick up the charges against everyone but Peter at a later time, with a fresh start. Peratini's attorney countered that they'd accept the deal, keep all the sanctions in place, and have the lawsuit terminated with prejudice. This became a sticking point, as DeCastro had long promised to hound Peratini with lawsuits based on the same charges until the end of time. After a hearing on DeCastro's attempt to dismiss the case and the terminating sanctions against him in late May, Judge Ford gave both sides time to negotiate an end to the lawsuit. A telling sign came in late June when Ford's court clerk set the next hearing in the case for July 14th, 2025, as a trial conference setting hearing that only applied to Kate Peter and DeCastro. It was unclear who had prevailed, but it was clear that Peratini, Clement, and Skeptic were no longer part of the lawsuit. On July 3rd, Judge Ford granted Peratini's motion to vacate DeCastro's voluntary dismissal without prejudice. He granted DeCastro's voluntary dismissal against Team Skeptic and Daniel Clement without prejudice. Judge Ford granted Peratini's request for terminating sanctions, and the case against Peratini was dismissed with prejudice. The existing sanctions against Diccastro would stay in place, and Diccastro was hit with another $4,560 in sanctions. Diccastro's remaining cause of action was then denied as moot. Diccastro, who was streaming on his YouTube channel when the news broke, refused to make a public comment. Peratini, appearing on the Suck It Phil Monday broadcast on ReallyCoolNews' YouTube channel, was jubilant and indicated that he would be pursuing collecting the nearly $14,000 in sanctions against Diccastro. Due to Judge Ford's order, Peratini, Clement, and Team Skeptic have now been removed from the lawsuit. Kate Peter, whose service of the complaint is in doubt and who has a default issued against her, is scheduled to appear with Diccastro at a July 14th trial-setting conference. It is unclear how the charges against Peter will play out, as Diccastro recently revived a version of his original federal lawsuit against Peter and Josh Abrams in a Boston-based defamation suit. Diccastro has pledged that he will include Peter in every lawsuit he can until he receives a judgment against her. This is a breaking news story. YouTuber 1A Audits Expose became the latest channel to call out Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova's efforts to protect his registered copyright on Monday, releasing a YouTube video in which he attacked Cordova after receiving 2 copyright strikes from the Denver-based YouTuber. In the video, 1A Audits Expose mocked Cordova for attacking his channel on the 4th of July in an attempt to stifle his First Amendment-protected freedom of speech. He belittled Cordova for an apparent lack of a life, having to dye his beard and reaching his mid-40s without establishing a significant romantic partner or family. He mockingly said that he only made 1 video of Cordova in 2025 and that he would not be bothered by Cordova forcing him to take 2 old videos down from his channel. He pledged that he would no longer make videos about Cordova's activism and marveled that despite Cordova's pledge to protect the Constitution, he had little regard to the protections of the freedoms of others. Behind the scenes, according to his Social Blade report, 1A Audits Expose removed roughly 30 videos from his YouTube channel over the weekend and into Monday. This resulted in a loss of 123,114 views from the channel, which has 4,860 current subscribers to 526 live videos. The removal of the videos was apparently explained later in the day by the YouTuber as he addressed the issue in a statement on the community page of his YouTube channel. Hi everyone, this will be my last upload for 1 to 2 weeks. My channel is under attack by the mighty DMA himself, supported by an ambulance chaser who creates cartoons on his channel to humiliate content creators. No, you can't make this up. DMA sent me 15 false copyright strikes since July 4th. This is really silly, but the consequences are very real. My channel might disappear in a week. I met with my lawyer today to establish a plan of action, and I will keep you posted on the development over time. But ultimately, to see a frauditor trying to silence me because he doesn't like being exposed is ironic and extremely tyrannical. Those jesters are becoming exactly what they were fighting against. Thanks everyone for your support. You guys are the best. While Cordova himself did not release a statement addressing 1A Audits Expose's commentary, Cordova's attorney, Randall S., the unhinged attorney Newman, Esquire, released the following statement when approached by ReallyCoolNews. The irony is rich, as 1A Audits Expose built his channel on copyright infringement and humiliating auditors. This isn't about silencing criticism, it's about stopping copyright infringement. He's welcome to counter the takedowns if he thinks they were false. The actions by Cordova come 2 weeks after Cordova, through his attorney Newman, approached 1A Audits Expose's associate channel Frauditor Mania when it was discovered that Frauditor Mania was selling merchandise based on the likenesses of various auditors. While Frauditor Mania would remove the merchandise, he also released the following statement addressing the issue. Any content creator feels that I have inappropriately used their material and would like it removed, please don't hesitate to reach out to me privately via email at frauditormania@gmail.com. There is no need for unproductive threats and immature insults. Let's engage in a constructive dialogue. I am more than happy to address any concerns, and if applicable, will remove the content amicably and promptly. While I am committed to maintaining professionalism in all matters, I want to make it clear that despite any immature actions or threats made by others, including attorneys, I will continue to handle all requests respectfully and with the level of professionalism that you deserve. Whether we have differing opinions in reference to our content, my goal is always to foster positive communication and ensure that all parties are treated fairly. Thank you for your understanding, and I look forward to resolving any issues amicably. Attorney Newman has also engaged with controversial YouTuber Dr. Dave, calling out Dr. Dave in a new video for his alleged racism when it comes to YouTuber Audit Them and others. Cordova's continued efforts have not paid off in new donations to his GoFundMe campaign. Clash with Bao won Tuesday's crowdsourcing title with a $10 donation. No other campaigns saw donations for the day. Kevin the Angry Vet Soper went live twice on Tuesday from a Maryland Walmart location where he was confronted by police and ultimately trespassed for a year and a day from the Walmart in Abingdon, Maryland. Soper's first live stream started with no audio as Soper was standing inside Walmart. A police officer approached him and shook his hand, and the two spoke, without audio, for the first half of the 9-minute video. Once the audio kicked in, Soper was outside as a second police officer approached him, and he explained to the camera that he was attempting to return an $87 part to the store, and he was on the verge of getting trespassed. The first police officer came out of a store with a shipping label that showed Soper's name and address. Soper photographed the label, then demanded that the officer get someone referred to as LP from the store, and guaranteed he would not be trespassed after talking to LP. Soper then ended the live stream. He started streaming again a few minutes later as he sat down to eat at a local Chick-fil-A restaurant and informed his viewers that he had not been successful and that he had indeed been trespassed from the Walmart location for a year and a day. Soper noted that the Abingdon, Maryland Walmart location was where he personally attempted to apprehend shoplifters in the parking lot in a live-streamed incident last year. He said that the workers there knew him and he had worked with LP, now identifying the initials as loss prevention, to give descriptions of the shoplifters and to share his video footage. The YouTuber said that he had bought a part from Walmart online as the website offered the quickest shipping for what he needed. When he received the item, it did not work, so he filled out a return on the website and took a screenshot of the return label to take it to his local Walmart. After some confusion in the store at the returns desk, he was directed to go to the money order area, where two women were attempting to handle the returns. He said he grew impatient after around 15 minutes of waiting, with 6 people in front of him and 4 to 5 behind him, so he got out of line and found a group of managers standing around and asked them to intervene. One of the managers directed him back to the returns counter, where he processed Soper's return but was unable to print Soper a receipt due to an error with the printer paper. Soper was asked to step aside while the manager helped the next customers and until he could get time to print Soper a proper receipt. Soper said he stepped away and went to the grill section of the store and eyed a $700 outdoor grill. After waiting for 5 minutes, he returned to the service desk to find it empty. He eventually found one of the 2 managers who had previously helped him, who said he would go print Soper's receipt. While waiting for that manager to return, Soper encountered the second manager who brought him a receipt printed on a sheet of paper. Soper noticed it was the wrong receipt and demanded a real manager. Soper was then contacted by a, quote, young girl, unquote, who he described as being frumpy and looking like shit. The woman claimed to be yet another manager and went and conferred with one of the 2 male managers. She returned to Soper, explaining that she confirmed that his return was processed and he should expect his money back within 24 hours. Things became heated when the woman could not give Soper a receipt. When he apparently swore at the woman, he was asked to leave the store. When Soper refused to leave, local police were summoned and Soper was trespassed from that location. Soper essentially recapped the last 5 minutes of his original live stream, but added that after he turned the camera off, an associate brought him the proper receipt. The YouTuber promised his fans that he would contact Walmart and claimed that he would receive a new grill in compensation for the day's event. A promise by Soper to share the store's information by updating the description of the video for those who wanted to brigade Walmart's corporate phone number over the incident went unfulfilled as of press time. Moving to his truck, Soper shared that the shoplifting case where he helped Walmart last year went to trial. On the day he was scheduled to testify, there was a last-minute postponement of the case. He said he arrived at the courthouse late and was informed by the prosecutor that the hearing was delayed and that she would call him with the new court date, but never followed up with him. Soper, now fiddling with a phone mount, also shared that he had received a copyright strike on his channel for sharing a photo of someone else without permission. He said he could counter the claim but was concerned about giving out his real address as he feared being doxxed as part of the counterclaim process. He also said he was in the process of remastering his YouTube channel, and the second phase of his master plan was in effect. Soper recently removed all previous videos and live streams from his channel without explanation. The angry vet returned home, where he greeted his wife by telling her he visited Walmart, but did not inform her that he was then trespassed from the location. His broadcast ended soon after that, as he lost a stable connection to the internet. Soper's livestream failed to bring in new donations to his Boost Scars mission for veterans and citizens GoFundMe campaign, which joined the market in goose eggs for the day, as no donations were observed for any of the campaigns we follow. YouTuber Matthew Liberty Troll Cooker received a small victory on Tuesday as a clerk for the Northern District of California granted his request for a subpoena against Google/YouTube for information about the Frauditor Roundup YouTube channel. The subpoena orders Google/YouTube to turn over all identifying information provided when this channel was established, as well as all identifying information provided subsequently for billing, administrative, or AdSense revenue purposes, all identifying information including the names, addresses, telephone numbers, email addresses, social media profile data, and IP addresses for the users who posted, uploaded, downloaded, or modified the data from the channel. Cooker's victory was soon followed by the filing of another subpoena request, again targeting Google/YouTube by Cooker's attorney, Randall S. the Unhinged Attorney Newman, Esquire, seeking the same information about the Dr. Dave Frauditor Terminator YouTube channel. Newman issued the following statement about the Frauditor Roundup subpoena when contacted by ReallyCoolNews. Google doesn't get to protect anonymous trolls who abuse the DMCA process. If someone files a counter notice through a lawyer, we're entitled to know who's behind it. The clerk issued the subpoena, and now it's Google's move. Frauditor Roundup is about to learn that anonymity ends where perjury begins. The use of 512H subpoenas by Newman on Cooker's behalf essentially allows him access to an alleged copyright violator's information without the need to file a lawsuit first. The need to file such a subpoena was demonstrated when Jonathan Frauditor Troll Huno provided an incomplete address when filing a counterclaim against a takedown notice in another case that Newman is handling. In that case, Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova sued Huno after Huno filed a counterclaim against a YouTube takedown notice. Huno agreed to being served at the address he provided in the counterclaim. However, the address was incomplete, as Huno knowingly or unknowingly left off a suite number of his address, preventing service of the lawsuit. The use of 512H subpoenas by copyright holders to get accurate information about those allegedly who misuse their copyright before filing suit apparently will put an end to the practice of essentially renting an attorney's address to put on a copyright counterclaim. In the past, YouTubers were advised to use various services of this nature in order to prevent doxing of their real information by copyright holders. Most recently, YouTuber Kevin the Angry Vet Soper discussed on a live stream on Tuesday how to give an alternate address when filing a counterclaim after his channel received a copyright takedown notice. Soper made it clear that he did not want his information doxed to the public and considered providing an alternative address when filing his counterclaim. Providing false information on such a claim is illegal and against YouTube's policies. The new subpoena request inadvertently continues the ongoing dispute between Newman and YouTuber Dr. Dave. The pair have traded videos disparaging each other over the past few days. The highlight of the dispute so far has been an AI-generated rap video released by Dr. Dave extolling the prowess of Newman as an attorney. On a related note, Christopher, Denver Metro Audits Cordova, has scheduled a live stream for 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday to discuss his ongoing dispute with the 1A Audits Expose channel. It is unclear if Attorney Newman will appear on the live with his client as of press time. We need your help. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, feeding the cats, defending ourselves from lawsuit threats, and writing news stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, you can do so via a donation to our PayPal, Cash App, or GoFundMe accounts. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch our videos from beginning to end, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.